We are pretty excited. We are almost to the Rose Bowl Flea Market, and it's been over 3 years since we have been here. So hopefully things are good. I imagine it's going to be just as ginormous as it was last time, but it's been a couple years, so we haven't seen it. How excited are you?
Turn
This
right.
much.
That about sums it up. There she is. So you can pay double to get in early. I think it's $20 per person between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. And then starting at 9 a.m. it is only $10 per person. But the professional pickers are already gonna have gone through there and gotten all the good stuff. So we are here and it is about 8 o'clock. And so we're gonna get in just a little bit early. We're kind of hoping to beat some of the initial 9 a.m. crowds, but we'll see. Is probably going to be pretty busy. I got cash. That is an important tip. Take cash. You have to have cash to get in and for parking, and also a lot of the vendors will only take cash. So always bring cash. The parking was $15 per vehicle. So I recommend carpooling with your buddies if you're going to be coming with several groups, because that's a little steep. Usually parking at flea markets tends to be around $5 to $8.
You can bring a horse. Ride a horse here. It's cheaper.
You don't have to pay for parking.
Horse hitching is 50% off if you come between 8 and 10 a.m.
Yeah, well there you go. Ride a horse. Sounds like we're at the county fair right now, but it's more exciting than the county fair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
I love your earrings.
Oh, thank you so much.
Welcome. Make sure to hold on to your tickets and get a hands off for reentry at the exit.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. If you've never been to the Rose Bowl Flea Market before, I will tell you it can be a little bit overwhelming. They have over 2,500 vendors, and one of my biggest tips is that if you are looking for vintage, head straight across the bridge as soon as you get into the market, and that's where you're going to find the best vintage and the best deals. I love these lucite chairs. Ooh, what's this sculpture thing? Let's get over here and see what this is. Is that a woodblock stand? Like a giant one? Oh, those would be fun. It's too bad we don't have anywhere for like a breezeway. Do you know if this is like a large fabric stamp or is it just like a wall hanging?
You know, I think it's Evelyn Ackerman and it was a wall hanging that she put together. That's what we're thinking it is.
Evelyn Ackerman.
But you know, I don't know if she made it like that. That it could.
She could have been inspired by the woodblock
Could have been
stamps.
definitely inspired by.
Very cool. What are you asking for it?
$275.
$275.
Because we think it's Evelyn Ackerman.
Yeah, it very likely could be. Cool. Thank you. Once you cross the bridge, that's where the pricing starts to go down. Ooh, this is pretty. What do you have on this one?
That one runs $175.
175. Would you be willing to do 125? What are these? Are these like little pipes?
Yeah, those are all antique opium pipes.
Ah, those are really
like
cool.
old antique wood ones.
Wow. What if we did the original 175 and for the 2 jacks and the blanket? That'll work? Okay, thank you. This is interesting because I have one that was from a Home Goods originally that's a knockoff, and I'm wondering if this is the original deal. It's much larger and actually looks old. Look at this, Jesse. It's a tooled leather
Little visor.
little visor hat. That's hilarious. One of the things you will quickly realize at this market is that there is so much vintage clothes here. If you are into vintage clothes from a specific era, say you love 1970s fashion like I do, this is a really wonderful market to come to. There are a lot of vendors who have very curated selections, so you won't be digging for hours through clothes looking for that one really good item. It can be a little overwhelming because sometimes the pricing is a bit high because the spaces are so curated. Look at this. It's my birth year. 82, $54. But if time is money for you and you are just looking for that one really cute top and you're willing to splurge a little bit, this is the perfect market for you to come to. Every time I come here, I'm blown away by the selection of 1920s silk dresses and tops and beautiful embroidered robes and vintage coats. Is that exactly what we need?
It's sold, but it has the electric insert.
Oh, it's already electric. Too bad it's already sold. And that we don't have a way to get it home. And that it's not white or black.
Probably a good
So really
thing.
it's not too bad.
Actually a good thing it's sold.
Check it out, I got some Brutalist brass pieces. I got the bracelet and both rings for $100. What'd you find? Oh my gosh, it's blazers. That's cute.
Too small for adult Jesse.
That's a child Jesse
It would
size.
have fit middle school Jesse just fine.
That one's cute. Would that fit me?
Probably.
I would wear that. That's pretty cute. I've started seeing that the vintage crochet sweater vests and sweaters are being reproduced by the mass fast fashion brands already. But there's so many cute options here.
Just a good stuff? Yeah. What we got for this?
I had a recording studio.
60.
How about 45?
You can ask him.
Okay.
It's all up to him if he
right.
wants to. Yeah.
He's the final answer?
Yeah.
The final answer.
Guy in the hat?
The beard, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Hey, can I look at a couple pieces?
You may. What can I show you?
That bracelet right there. What kind of pricing is your turquoise?
Yeah, like $80.
Very pretty. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really pretty. Okay, yeah, on that one. We put our first load in the car and we're headed back inside. Luckily, since we got here early, we were able to get a really close parking spot. So that's awesome because I feel like now I'm less scared to pick up heavy pieces because I won't have to make this guy carry them around for me. So we're gonna go back inside, grab something to eat, something to drink, and go find more treasures. See what this blanket is right here. I think it might have a cool tiger on it. Oh, it's an elephant. Yeah, that's its trunk.
No, it's trunks
tail.
over here.
Oh, his trunk's over there. Let me see. I thought, oh, that's his little tusk.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh, that's very cool. These are so on trend right now. That's gorgeous if you could have a pair like that. See, you could eat dinner at that one, and then I eat dinner at this one.
What about this thing?
I didn't even see that. Are you kidding me? Those are massive. So quick story, a long time ago, like 6 years ago, we missed out on a smaller version of this table on shopgoodwill.com.
A coffee table.
Yeah, it was a coffee table. It was round and it had 3 of the ram heads and we missed out on it by like minutes. I forgot to log back in. Snooze you lose. This thing's amazing. Let's see what they have on it. $1,700 to be honest. I don't think that's crazy. I feel like that'd be like $4,500 in Portland. I'm obsessed with these. I like the base. It almost looks like a pleated lampshade. And then it's this beautiful like rosy, peachy nude color of marble. $850. But I mean, they're vintage and you could go to West Elm and pay $1,500 for a dining room table. These are way cooler. I would recommend setting a budget for yourself, giving yourself an allowance for how much you are willing to spend. Whether you're reselling items for profit or whether you're buying for yourself, you always need to be a little bit mindful of how much you're spending when you come to a market this size. The beautiful thing about there being 2,500 vendors is that there's a little bit of something for everyone. Why do I love this piece so much? And every vendor gets to set their own pricing. So if one vendor's pricing is a little bit too high for you, just move on to the next vendor until you find a treasure that is in the right budget for you. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but my biggest tip is to just have fun and enjoy the hunt.
We had like a gate in front of our house.
Maybe we should build one. I think I want these ones because they look like they're gonna fight. Sometimes they have a ball at the bottom of their foot, which I think represents the world, like the foo dogs. So cool. These are some beautiful kokeshi dolls. I especially love this one right here. She's very pretty and unique. It's a Matisse print. No wonder I like it. Henry Matisse, 1936. Every time I'm drawn to a piece, I find out that it's a Matisse. So I think I need to study my Matisse book. I think these types of flea markets are really good for specific items. I do really well on my vintage jewelry. And another thing I always seem to find is really good original artwork. This is something that I find is really hard to find in thrift stores and sometimes even vintage stores. So these types of flea markets are wonderful if you're looking for an original piece of art that no one else is going to have. I'm getting so into this like welding with bits from trucks. I don't know why. I'm into it. All right, we're gonna have to look up who Wasserman is. Look, I found a fountain for Little Italy. Just kidding. I wish. We're calling it a day and a lot of people are still just coming in. But we are wiped and we got plenty of treasures and we spent all of our money. When we got here, this entire parking section was completely empty. Until next time, Rose Bowl. I'm back home in Portland, Oregon, and for those of you who are new here and this is the first video you have watched, I am a full-time vintage reseller and interior decorator out of Portland, Oregon, and I go to flea markets and thrift stores and garage sales and estate sales, pretty much everywhere you can find secondhand treasures, and I look for items for my own personal home to decorate with, and I also look for them for my vintage shop. So my goal with the Rose Bowl flea market was to find as much jewelry as I can. I truly believe no matter how high-end a flea market is, you can always find good deals. You just have to be patient and you just have to take your time and find those hidden gems. What always seems to work for me is talk to nice people. If you go out to a space and you ask how much something is and they're really short or really rude about it, just pass. There's so many vendors there. Go find someone who really loves antiques and who wants to talk to you about the history, where they found those pieces. Be honest about being a reseller. A lot of times they know I'm gonna make a little bit of money, they're gonna make a little bit of money, and we all get to share in this passion that we love so much. With all of that said, let's get inside and I'm gonna show you my treasures that I took home with me. One of the many things that I collect for my personal home are antique and vintage hand-woven textiles. I love this one that I got here at the Rose Bowl flea market for the back of my couch. I think it complements all of the different colors and patterns that I have in the space really well. One of the reasons that I love to pick up these vintage textiles is that they look beautiful on the back of your couch or on your bed. There are so many different ways that you can use them. I even use these as wall hangings too. And my favorite thing to do is to layer different textures and patterns across my bed, just giving it a little bit of interest. I have found some pretty incredible textiles over the years, and they're some of my most prized possessions in my home. The vendor was asking $175, but by the time I was done shopping his space, he threw in the 2 jacks for the total price of $175. And I am pretty confident that this is an authentic Native American woven piece, and that would probably put the actual online value at around $400 to $500. But I'm planning on keeping this beauty forever. I'm excited to show you some of my favorite pieces that I picked up at the Rose Bowl flea. One of my very favorite would have to be this hand right here. It's a ring and it's adjustable, which is kind of nice because so many rings are so small, like these beautiful brass brutalist ones. So it's great that it's adjustable, and I love that it has the little green and blue stones in it, and anything that has a hand of protection I'm going to be a big fan of. This is another one of my favorites, this long sterling silver one here. This is a Navajo made one, and this one I'm actually going to add to my personal collection. I'm not going to sell this baby. This will be one of my Rose Bowl souvenirs, I guess you could call it. I always end up keeping a piece or two when I go and buy a bunch of vintage jewelry. I kind of go through phases where I will keep things for maybe a summer or a season, and then I will finally be able to let it go. But I think I'm going to keep this one for quite a while. I was very surprised to be able to get so many of these larger cuffs. Look at how incredible this one is. This is also a Navajo made piece, and I love these large flush mounted stones. I think that they are so beautiful with the different veining colors in it, and it has this beautiful ornate botanical design on it, and this one is a statement for sure. When I very first picked up, I think it was this cuff, I asked him how much his turquoise was, and when he said $80 for this cuff, I knew he was ready to make some good deals, because this cuff is something that I will probably be able to sell in my shop for around $225 to $250. Brutalist pieces are something that not everybody is into, but I really love them. They were very popular during the 70s, and a lot of these pieces are made with mixed metals or brass, and that helps keep the cost down a little bit because it's not sterling silver. I got all three of these pieces from one dealer for $100, and I think that was a really reasonable price. These rings are something that I would typically expect to sell online for around $80 to $90 each, and maybe $125 to $150 for the cuff. Now, these are not designer, but one thing when you see these brass brutalist pieces to look for are signatures, because there are a handful of mid-century era designers and they are very, very valuable. One of the most famous is Pal Capeñas, and if you ever find a piece that is signed Pal Capeñas, you are lucky. I've been looking for his lion pieces for, well, basically a decade. I've never found one, but someday I'm gonna find one, and so I'm gonna put that out in the universe right now. I almost forgot to show you the other one that I'm gonna keep for myself. Look how long this one is. Right now it's sized for a pinky, at least for me. I think I'm gonna take it to my local jeweler and see if I can get it sized for my middle finger, or maybe even my pointer finger. I think that would be really beautiful. I love these really long length rings, and they are the hardest to find, it seems, and when you do find them, they tend to be the most expensive. About half of the sterling rings that I purchased at the flea market were around $15, which is incredible. Most of these are valued at around $100. A few of the nicer ones, including this longer length one, I think I paid $25 or $30 for, but that's still a really good deal, especially for it being at a California market. These are just some of my favorites that I picked up. So overall, with all the jewelry that I purchased, I had it priced out to make around $2,000 profit off of the vintage jewelry. So no matter how much people tell you that things are so expensive at the Rose Bowl flea market, you can still find good deals, and this is proof of it. I've got someone here with me who remembers this guy from the Long Beach episode. So this is an incredible vintage owl phone. And in my Long Beach episode, I talked about giving this away, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to select from the comments in that video. And I came up with a perfect solution to make it fair for everyone. So 56 is one of my lucky numbers, and I am just going to pick the 56th comment. And if it's about the owl, you're gonna win it. So my comment is the very first one because it was a pinned one because someone was like posting a bunch of spammy stuff. So I'm not going to count this one. So let's go from there. Now YouTube randomizes the order. Sometimes it's based on thumbs ups. I don't know how the algorithm picks the order, but this is not the order the comments were left in. This is the order that they are showing on my screen right now, and that's what we're gonna go with. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oh my gosh, here it comes. 54, 55, 56. Jeannine Lopez. That owl phone is the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. My kids would go crazy about it. Awesome find. Also, I loved the mushrooms. I was not expecting that to be a toothpick holder. Congratulations, Jeannine. You win the owl phone. Oh my goodness, I just realized that number 56, if I would have counted my comment as number 1, would have been Winking Owl Antiques. So this is Barb. And for those of you who don't know Barb, I met her on my Ohio trip that I did last fall. And I feel so bad, but I'm sticking with my first decision to make it totally fair. I was not going to include my comment. So this is number 56 from the comments. But Barb, how funny. Look, your logo even has an owl. I'll find you something else with an owl, Barb. Just had to share with you that I had so much fun reading through all 750 of the comments about the owl and your landline stories. It's so fun when we think about vintage and we relate it to our life and our memories. And I really, really appreciate all of you guys sharing those stories with me. It was so much fun, and I hope the rest of you take some time to read through the comments because there's some really good stories and good memories out there. If you are hoping to snag some of these beautiful pieces, I'm going to be having them in my online shop sale. I list my new vintage the first Friday of every single month, and so for the April sale, there's going to be so much much vintage jewelry from this California adventure series. So don't forget to check out my website, leftcoastrevivals.com, so you don't miss when the sale drops, because things do go really, really fast. Thank you so much for joining Jesse and I at the Rose Bowl Flea Market today, and I will see you guys in a brand new episode, which I am taking you to the Palm Springs Vintage Market next. So that's going to be a really fun one. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss when that episode comes out. I will see you guys in that adventure soon.